Bitcoin looking to open up this new week with a little bit of a pullback, but as we go over in today's video, very important higher term time frame closures are coming in tonight for the monthly, quarterly, and 6-month time frame. And if things do follow through in the way that we're looking for, this is very likely a setup for new all-time highs, maybe in July, actually, as Bitcoin does set up here. But again, short term, can Bitcoin pull back? Yes, absolutely. It's actually very, very similar to last week. And I want to continue on with this past like 3 weeks worth of thread of analysis because it's continuing to work here. And first things first, I actually want to take things to a completely different side of the market, which is NAS futures. And I just want to acknowledge that NAS closed the weekly out on one mega massive bullish engulfing dildo on new all-time highs. So yes, while short term, it might come back down and, and retest this breakout at around 22,250, something like this. Ultimately, is that a bearish signal? Well, to many on social media, apparently it is. But in my experience, usually not. And of course, with a monthly close and a little bit later tonight, I mean, that is just one massive girthy green dildo at the current moment. So assuming that NAS does not shit the bed before end of day here, it will effectively confirm this breakout on pretty much all higher term timeframes, including the monthly as well. Just needs to close above about 22,450 for that monthly to follow through. Obviously closing, here or higher is going to look better. And the 3-month time frame as of right now is one mega massive bullish engulfing dildo as well. Again, just needs to maintain above that very specific pivot, 22,450. And then yes, indeed, you will have that confirmed. And, there might be a pullback to open up early July, but I suspect that would be a mega massive opportunity. Again, this is assuming the next 13 hours, 34 minutes, and 48 seconds and counting do not shit the bed before that time frame before that expiration happens. So let's now get into Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, like I said, short term, do I expect a bit of a pullback? Probably, yeah. If it does pull back anywhere around that red 5 EMA on the weekly time frame is a major area of interest for myself. That is just at around 106,000 bucks, give or take a few bucks from that number, meaning that Bitcoin can pull back down around there. That's fine. That's okay. It's similar to last week. We've seen this many times. But assuming that Bitcoin bounced from there, which very likely it will bounce at least on the first pass, then, we do actually have a setup for likely a new all-time high try in July, if I had to guess here. So going back down into the daily time frame, I want to go back over this same thread of analysis that we've had now for about 3 weeks, which is governed off of the breakout of the top boundary of this price action pivots indicator right here, which happened last Wednesday on the closure above 106,850. Then Bitcoin spent the next 2 days on Thursday and Friday retesting that exact same region, but still holding above, which means that breakout is still considered valid. And as long as Bitcoin is above there, that looks fine to me. Again, short term might pull back somewhere down around this yellow 21 EMA, that's low 106 or up or very high 105s. But as long as Bitcoin's not below there and not closing daily dildos, especially below about 106, I'd be looking at this as a legitimate breakout with the next major area of interest for the next potential breakout, in this case, it kind of has to be new all-time highs at this point, with the price action pivot here, which is coming in from the 16th of June's high. And that is just under 109,000. So if you do see Bitcoin pop back above there, close daily dildo above there, very likely we're getting ready for new all-time highs. This is some sort of a fucked up falling channel or variation of that. So that does mean that we can come up with a bit of an implied target, and that would be pointed all the way up towards actually new all-time highs, just above 113,500 US dollars. I think that actually plays rather well hand in hand with the other meta signal setup that we spoke about last week. This was the 2-hour time frame setup. It fired off at 101,000 US dollars. Obviously, target number 1 and target number 2 have been met, and Bitcoin's massively above them right now, to be fair. So for the people who are still holding on to this, yes, target number 3 is gotten extremely close to there, 109,250 or so. It is rather low probability at 34% of the time, so almost 1 out of 3 times given this setup, you do see that level hit, but Bitcoin's gotten so damn close to there. At the end of the day, it's like how much more do you want? But if Bitcoin does fulfill that target number 3, that will naturally bring Bitcoin above the most recent price action pivot right here, thus validating the breakout. And again, 113 to 114 is the next sort of major area of interest. Again, probably even continues from there as well over the long term. This signal, by the way, is going to be accompanied by a new meta signal setup, a new meta signal setup here on the 4-hour time frame. This one fired off recently at 108,450. So this one's fresh. It is a continuation setup, by the way. It is strategy 4 spot 1, which is continuation. And I should acknowledge that target number 1 is about the same as target number 3 from that 2-hour time frame setup, and that has a 75.5% probability to be hit, granted the historical results from this. So again, looking at this, we have multiple things now pointed towards that same direction. This obviously being a significantly higher probability and also more recent setup, I do think speaks towards the likelihood that Bitcoin, or just the bias here, at least that I will be having, which is, as long as Bitcoin's above 106, I'm generally looking to the upside with pullbacks in the meantime. But even going on from there, I want to also call out that target number 2 has like a surprisingly high hit rate here for a target number 2. Usually on meta signals, it's closer to like 50% or even below 50%. But this one's just below 62%. And that target specifically would be 110,732. Now there is a target number 3 as well. That's 112,600. That is a just under or just over 39.5% probability to be hit. But at the end of the day, I do like how these are setting up in this particular time frame here. Again, for me, the big line in the sand is going to be that 106 number. But if you are looking at this 4-hour setup as valid and playable in that regard, the stop loss is actually positioned on a closure below 107,765. So if you do see a closure below there, technically this gets all nullified, and it's just on to the next one, right? And again, when we're talking about meta signal stuff, it is just a probabilistic setup that you can use in any way, shape, or form that you want, or not use it at all. Like, it's all good. It's okay. It's just statistics. It's just probabilities. If you're lobotomized, I understand that this shit does not make sense, but for the unlobotomized of this channel, which is the overwhelming majority of this channel, hopefully that is in some way useful. And of course, you can check out meta signals for free in the link description below. They fire off all sorts of public signals as well. And then if you do want to try their service, they have a crazy deal going on right now where you get like, I don't know, it's like $3,000 cash back or something, plus 1,000 order tokens, which is the What Exchange token of choice. And you can even get a bigger discount on their monthly subscription with the code CROWN in all capitals, if that is of your interest. Again, just gives you notifications of high probability setups. In my experience, I think it kind of speaks for itself at this point. Again, high probability setups does not mean 100% probability setups, but that's why I say very specifically, if you're lobotomized, just don't. Probably shouldn't even be trading at all, to be honest. Anyways, if you don't understand probability, it's going to be very, very difficult to be long-term successful. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, that's the whole point of it. It's probably the best way to make decisions just in general in life, even outside of trading. All right, cool. Enough of that. Sorry about that. Anyways, let me go through my notes here. Yes, okay, we went through that. The next hurdle, that is that 109 high, the breakout implied move. Yes, we went over that. Now let's go over stochastic momentum on the higher term timeframes here, because I think you'll get it once we look at it. First, really, really, really important. We are seeing extreme lows on volatility. So Bitcoin is setting up for a rather explosive move from here. Whether you're bullish or bearish, there is going to be a big move. Very likely, I would say within the next 2 weeks, probably in the earlier portion of that. We see daily BBWP at the lowest levels for the longest time since when? Since July of 2023. July of 2023, okay? July of 2023 was coming off of this consolidation right here before a humongous explosive move to the upside. Now, again, just because it's low volatility doesn't mean it's going to be upside. It is direction neutral, but it is showing you the severity of the move. 5-day time frame is also coming off of extreme lows here on spot price action. It is literally at one spot 59 percentile. And if we go to the weekly time frame, you can see it's also coming down. So maybe we actually do spend a little bit more time contracting. But ultimately, that is setting up for a big move. I would really guess in July. Anyways, as far as stochastic momentum goes, daily time frame we can see on CME is still positioned to the upside as long as Bitcoin's above 103,000 US dollars. The 2-day time frame is actually going to freshly cross up. Is it tonight? No, it's going to be tomorrow night if Bitcoin closes tomorrow night above 109,200. The 3-day time frame is going to be fresh up if Bitcoin can close above 108,900. By the way, this is on CME. This one coming in actually tonight, so going to be an important one to watch. 3-day time frame still kind of operating below the price action pivot boundary to the upside right here. The 5-day time frame is still actually up right now. I think spot is starting to turn back around after last night's closure. No, it's not. 110 is the current pivot. So that would suggest we actually really do expect Bitcoin to be above 110 within the next 5 days by the closure if Bitcoin's going to be bullish, meaning that if you don't see Bitcoin above that number in the next 5 days, we're probably going to see a range move to the downside. I mean, shit, at that point, like 103 to 104, I think is a given, maybe even lower. And then on top of that, the weekly time frame, which obviously just opened up last night, is going to be positioned to the upside as long as Bitcoin's above 106,785. So we do see kind of a disagreement between a lot of the higher term time frames, but a lot of those pivots for the ones that are down right now are around like 109 to 110. So if you see Bitcoin above those numbers, that's another added confluence that Bitcoin is going to break out. And by the same token, to the downside, below like 106, you're going to start to have some some real problems for the bullish here. But for right now, Bitcoin's obviously a lot more close to breaking out to the upside than the downside. And on top of all of this, the monthly time frame, which again is closing tonight in 16 hours, 60 minutes, and 10 seconds, is going to freshly cross up, by the way, assuming that Bitcoin finishes the day above 103,750. Now, I'm curious to see where that next pivot comes in for tomorrow. So obviously we'll update on that tomorrow. But if it stays about the same or even goes down, that's a really, really good sign for the bullish, and vice versa. If it's the other way around, by the way, that would be really, really good for the bearish. Of course, we also got the 3-month time frame closing tonight. This one almost undoubtedly is going to stay to the upside, assuming Bitcoin's just above $95,000 by end of day here. But I do want to again acknowledge that it is getting to some pretty critical territory, some pretty critical and extreme regions. So, long term, I don't think that this whole market has more than, I think we see a top within the next 3 months, but I could definitely understand the reasoning why people might look for the next 3 to 6 months. Could be another 2 closures, of course. And then we got the 6-month time frame, which is actually closing decently here as well. It'd be nice if it closed above the last 6-hour time frame high, which is 108,300. This one obviously going to remain to the upside as well. So, so far so good, but it's a long day left to go. Basically, if you wanted to, synthesize my whole video down into a couple of sound bites, it would be Bitcoin basically finishing the day, especially above 108. It's going to look pretty damn good for a real new all-time high try sometime in July, and carrying on with this market cycle, into the end of the third quarter most likely. And then other than that, I wanted to bring one last thing up regarding the higher term timeframes here, the monthly on the HPDR. We can see the monthly as of right now. Again, it's a long day left to go, but it is actually maintaining above that 38.2 level. That 38.2 level is officially at $106,000. We've seen that now come up multiple times. Really do not want to see Bitcoin below about 106 by end of day today. Otherwise, I'm probably going to turn into like at least a short/medium term bear. Just so you know. Just again, I can change my mind at any fucking moment, right? Think the market changes, I have to change my mind as well. Anyways, yes. So we've got that. I think I've nailed just about every point that I wanted to get today. Maybe one last thing for the quantum wave bands. Just wanted to update on this. It did definitely struggle on the down move that we saw in the middle of June, taking some pretty sizable losses there, but is starting to regain that in the past week with 1 win, 2 wins, and this one was in profit for a while there. Now it's actually in a small loss. So we'll see how that one goes. Check out the strategy tester, see how the equity curve is doing. And again, that equity curve continues up and to the right. Yes, it has taken a little bit of a downturn right here. I always want to be super transparent with this because at the end of the day, this channel is focused on probabilities and probabilistic setups. And of course, that means that you're going to take some losses. This one has about a 68.5% strike rate to produce a winning trade. And that's not 100%, of course. And like I said, for anyone who's using it for those last couple weeks or that last or 2 weeks ago, definitely a struggle right there, but it's about the long-term gain. It's about the long-term gain or game and gains actually as well. And of course, if you want to try out the quantum wave bands, you can do that for free, completely free. There's like no strings attached, no bullshit, no nothing. 7 days for any new user. Just go to the teachable link in the description below, and you don't need a code even. It just gives you 7 days automatic for free, and you can decide for yourself by the end of that 7 days if it's for you or not for you. And all good. Anyways, I think that's a good place maybe leaving off on this video. Yeah, I think we hit just about everything. Tomorrow we'll do some July stats as well as going over hopefully the major closures from today. Should have a pretty big update tomorrow. I'll say it one more time. If Bitcoin could finish today, especially above like 109, that would look obviously very, very good. And I do think Bitcoin would probably go for a new high in July, or at least sometime in this next quarter. And you're probably looking at like 120 to 125 region. All right. that's enough for today. As always, I want to wish everyone the best of the best. I hope the weekend wasn't too boring, but we were actually visiting Elsa's family and Elsa's parents in the middle of the nowhere of the forest. So now we're back. Now we're ready to go, and I think that this week or this month is probably going to be quite fun, actually. So, anyways, I'll end things on that note. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Tuesday.